When people in the Midlands want to talk, they talk to Will Faulkner.
Now first, all parents hope for a healthy baby, and thankfully in the vast majority of cases everything works out just fine. But when something does go wrong, it's going to be your worst nightmare. And infections or allergies or asthma or fever, you can accept that babies will be susceptible to some of these things, but you don't expect your newborn to have cancer. Keith Cahill and Sarah McCauley from Portarlington have been coming to terms with this terrible news, but today they're going to try and raise some awareness of the condition. Guys, you're very welcome to the programme.
Thanks, Mel.
Thanks.
So Cara is about 4 months old now?
She's be 5 months this Sunday.
5 months on Sunday.
Yeah.
So initially, how was she?
She was fine. She was never, like, I'm not just saying it because she's our child, but she never cried. She was always a good baby for us.
Mm-hmm.
And
First baby?
Yeah, first baby.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it was when she was 3 weeks old, she'd always had a problem with constipation. So we brought her to the GP and we noticed she had a lump on her side, in her stomach. So we brought her to the GP and they sent us to Portlaoise, and they said, yeah, she was constipated, and the reason for the lump on her side was that she had a popped muscle from kind of putting pressure on herself trying to go.
From trying to do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, okay.
So we were transferred up to Crumlin then to a specialist up there, and he basically done a washout on her, and he said that the muscle would go down, which it did. So everything was grand. We were sent home then. We kept her for the weekend and we were sent home. So that was grand. Everything went back to normal. She was grand, not a bother on her. She was feeding well the whole lot. And then it was in November, it was the weekend of the 19th, she had started this outburst of hysterically crying for no reason.
Which was totally out of character for a quiet
completely.
baby heretofore.
Yeah, because she was never like that. And we were just putting it down to her starting to teed, like. So,
But it must have escalated. It must have gotten much worse.
we noticed that she was getting constipated again. So on the Tuesday we brought her to the GP, and it was the Monday night, actually, before we brought her to the GP, I was winding her after her feed and I noticed she had a lump on her back. And of course I thought it was the same thing, like she was after popping another muscle maybe from putting pressure on herself trying to go.
Strain.
So we brought her over to the GP on the Tuesday anyway, and they sent us to Portlaoise again. Portlaoise, at first we were saying she was constipated again, but then they knew that there was something more to it, so she had an ultrasound done, and they said that the ultrasound showed that what looked like a bruise on her back. So then the next day we were kept overnight anyway, and they done an x-ray on her and that showed up nothing. So they sent us again to Crumlin, back up to the same guy we had been with the first time, and he said no, she definitely wasn't constipated. So the doctor that we were under in Portlaoise, which is Dr. Daly, she had said to us, if you don't get anything from Crumlin, come straight back to us. So we left Crumlin anyway and went straight back to Portlaoise, and she said no, she wasn't happy with Cara. She knew there was something more to it. So
You're on the go for quite a while now, because
Yeah.
initially you went to Portlaoise, stayed overnight,
we were
referred to
overnight
Crumlin.
in Portlaoise for 2 nights, and we drove to Crumlin ourselves on the Thursday morning, back to Portlaoise again, and we were kept in Portlaoise then until the Sunday. She had a CT scan done, and Dr. Daly came into us then on the Friday and said that the CT had showed up she had a mass on her spine. I'm sure I hadn't a clue what she was talking about, and no idea what she was talking about until she started to say that.
She spelled it out then, did she?
Exactly, yeah, because my ma was actually over in the hospital with us, and I knew by the face and her, she knew what Dr. Daly was talking about, but sure, I hadn't a clue. I'd never heard of it being put that way.
Yeah, they
it'd be a
tried to put
mass.
it delicately first,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
suppose.
So basically she started going on then that it could be cancer, it mightn't be cancer, but she was kind of leaning more towards that it would be benign, which it wouldn't be cancer. So I was like, Jesus. So she said that we'd be transferred back to Crumlin again on the Tuesday, but we'd be kept in Portlaoise until the Tuesday just to monitor Cara, because she wasn't feeding, so she wanted to just keep an eye that she wasn't going to get dehydrated and keep her on fluids and that. So that was grand. We were trying to let it all sink in and whatever, and of course trying to think the best of things, saying, oh, sure, she'll be grand. Like, Sunday
What's going through your head, Keith, when all of this is happening?
Just, like, I didn't know. When she said that, when she came in and she said that there was a mass on her back, I didn't know what she was talking about. And at that time she came in, her ma was after bringing us over something to eat because we hadn't eaten all day. We actually hadn't eaten
since the Tuesday,
properly
really.
since Tuesday, like.
You must have been exhausted as well.
Yeah. And when the doctor came in, I was kind of in between eating, and when she said, like, that there was a mass in her spine, and she started talking about cancer, then I just lost appetite and I felt sick. I just physically couldn't eat anymore.
Yeah, I believe you.
So I just didn't know what to expect. Everything was going through my head. I was trying to think the best of it, but it was too hard, like.
So you're here in the hospital, you're exhausted, you're starving, and then wallop, the worst news in the world is dropped into your lap.
Yeah.
And what treatment plan was outlined from there?
Well, she said we'd be transferred to Crumlin on the Tuesday, but we had to take a sample of urine off Cara as well. And we never heard back about the urine sample, and that completely went down my head. I never talked to or from about it. So the Sunday then, the nurse actually came in to us Sunday afternoon and said, right, there's a cot ready, get going. So we said, grand. We were delighted we were getting up to Crumlin that bit earlier to get things sorted, so we weren't kind of left waiting until the Tuesday. So as soon as I had to bring an envelope up with me with all Cara's scan results and any other information that Portlaoise wanted Crumlin to have. So we drove up ourselves and we brought all the information up with us, and when we went up there was a doctor waiting in the room for us, Dr. Michael Capra. He's an oncology consultant. So we went in anyway, and I gave him the envelope and he went off, and I was getting Cara settled in and the whole lot, and he came back. He was back to us within 5-10 minutes max, and he said from looking at the scan straight away he knew it was a tumour that was on her spine. So we were like, Jesus, like, he said he knew by looking at it, he said, because he's seen, not that he's seen it so many times, but he just knew exactly what he was looking at. He said he started to talk about all different words, sure, that we hadn't a clue what he was talking about. The type of cancer that she has is neuroblastoma, and sure, when he was saying that, I was thinking there's no such thing, like, because when you hear of kids having cancer, you automatically think leukemia. Well, I would anyway. That's what I'd think of. And but now he said she has neuroblastoma. There's only 650 to 700 cases of it worldwide. So
it's very, very rare.
Yeah.
And obviously you've done your homework on it since then. So what does it mean?
Basically, it's the type of cancer that it secretes its own hormones. So
hormone treatment is useless against
it. From what I've been reading online, with all the information that I've been looking up, it's a type of cancer that it secretes its own hormone and it spreads so fast.
So what do they use to get rid of it?
At the minute, Cara's having, chemo.
Chemo?
She's had 3
goes. Baby?
Yeah. And it's actually because this cancer is so rare, they don't actually have a specific treatment for it, so they're using adult chemo. A mixture of adult chemos for it.
Adults who've had chemotherapy will tell you it's no walk in the park. No. It's horrible and it's draining and it saps your energy.
But
How is she
She's had 3 bouts of chemo so far. Her next one will be the 30th of January, and if you've seen her now, you wouldn't think there's a thing wrong with her.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how long will she have the chemo for?
We don't know yet. She's, she's having another go at the end of this month, and then she'll be scanned again the start of February just to see what's happening.
They obviously want to contain it and shrink the tumour and obliterate it.
She had her last scan, was it just before Christmas, was it?
Yeah,
just before Christmas. And her doctor said that the tumour is on her kidney, but it's compressing her spine. There's like vines going in between the vertebrae and her spine. So he wants to get it away from her spine as quick as he can, basically, because it's dangerous to obviously have it near her spine. So with her last scan results, he said that the tumour is shrinking, but not in the way that he wanted. It's still all around her spine, whereas basically he wanted it to shrink the opposite way. But like when you feel her back now, as I was saying, the lump on her back, that was actually the tumour pushing out through her skin because it was growing so much. Now it was only 4 centimetres, but 4 centimetres in a baby is
a lot,
big, like. Yeah. But that has
and if
gone
it does
down.
Shrink further, and please God it will, is there a surgical option then?
He will operate on the main part on her kidney, but he won't touch her spine. He said there's no way on this earth he'll operate near her spine. So whether the chemo will kill it off on her spine, whether it'll die away itself, I don't know. We'll just have to... It's a waiting game now.
It's a horribly uncertain situation for you guys.
Yeah.
So it's a wait and see game.
Yeah, basically.
Keep going for chemo, keep taking the scans and see what happens.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the worldwide figures. How many cases in Ireland? Do you know?
We were kind of trying to get a few figures together and a whole lot. I just have it written down here. Between 2001 and 2010, there's only been 96 cases of it in Ireland. Yeah, 52 of those have been in children a year and younger. And that's between 2001 and 2010.
And is it just bad luck, or are there factors that can cause it, or does anybody have the answer?
No, from what I'm reading, obviously there is no definite cure for any type of cancer, but they literally have no idea what they're doing with this type of cancer because it's so rare. It's so rare. And from what I'm reading, like as I was saying, it secretes its own hormones, but apparently, now I could be reading all this wrong, I don't know, it's just what I'm reading online. It says that they can't, like obviously they've no idea why cancer occurs anyway, but they don't know whether with this type of cancer, whether Cara has it from the minute she was conceived or from when she was born, or maybe when she was 2 months old. They don't know.
You're in a horrible limbo, though,
Yeah.
waiting and hoping for answers. And in the meantime, is this treatment paid for by the state, or do you guys have to stump up the cash? Or?
We've been landed, we've over €2,000 worth of hospital bills sitting at home.
And do you have €2,000
No.
to pay them?
Not for hospital bills, no.
So are you
No.
trying to raise funds as well?
Yeah, we're trying to.
We're just trying to raise funds like for the type of cancer that Cara has.
Just so that the doctors can research it more, like, because I rang up to see, pardon me, if we were to fundraise, through this type of place, what would happen? And they said that because this type of cancer is so rare, it's way down on the pecking order, it wouldn't get any of the funding at all. It'd go to the likes of breast cancer, liver cancer, all that sort. Like, it's basically just ignored.
So you want to have a special fund just for this research?
Like, we're after setting up the page on Facebook, just for people to know what's happening, and for other parents to realise, like, if they notice symptoms, get it checked. Don't leave it.
What sort of support are you getting from family and friends and the community
Loads.
generally?
It's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Just everyone's helping so much the best way they can, like, so that's just like we're happy with everyone doing the best they can and helping us out as much as they can. Like, it's been brilliant.
Have you any fundraising events coming up, or
No,
are
not
they
yet.
in the pipeline then?
They're in the pipeline.
Trying to see, we're new to this, we don't know what to do, or
We don't really know how
we
to
don't know how
start.
to set or start things up, so we're just kind of trying to figure it all out.
Guys, I wouldn't want to walk a mile in your shoes at the moment, but thank you for being so brave and coming in and talking about it
No
and raising
problem.
awareness. It's been a
Thanks
pleasure.
very much.
And hopefully, and fingers crossed, everything works out for the best.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.
Sarah McCauley and Keith Cathell, thank you very much indeed for coming in to us.